This is day 4. Thank you for tuning in. Day 1, 2, 3, 4 is a lot of information. Only take what resonates with you, leave the rest. You grow when you just pick up a few things at a time, and then water those seeds and do your own kind of research, do your own meditation, try to look at this from all sides, not just what we say. This is just one perspective, really, of the whole thing. So today we're going to jump into all these amazing worlds. If I can find it, give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So the spirit world. The 5th dimension. Okay, so as we know, we are incarnated in the 3rd dimension, but we are also multidimensionally existing in all places simultaneously. This is like what we were talking about and left off with yesterday, which is really cool. Raising our consciousness, we are able to sense the spirit realm that we are also in. We're just able to sense it because we're shifting our consciousness. So matter is a form of energy or condensation of energy. Energy is made up of vibrating, I'm just going to say waves and frequencies at various rates of speed. In a physical 3D world, it rotates at a very slow and constant rate of speed. So I'm not going to say rotate. I'm going to say the vibration. It's either slow or it's either fast. And so that basically tells you where you are consciously. So that's why things appear to be solid for our earthly senses, but the slower the speed, the more solid the thing. And in the spirit world, when everything vibrates at a much faster speed or ethereal dimension, things are freer. They're less solid. It's
fluid.
Like I'm picturing like it's levels, right? Think of when you go from solid to liquid to gas to like all these states, right? You get through that liquidy, yes, but then there's a higher dimension that's more gassy, and then there's a higher dimension that's just more light beams, and then there's a dimension of above that where it's like all of it, right? So regardless of where you are also surrounded by everything else, by all the other layers, by all the other yous. So this is why it's it's important to take a look at your own perception of your beliefs. Like step back and perceive your beliefs from different angles. Is this belief coming from a place of fear, or is it coming from a place of love? Because I've noticed that a lot of people are kind of fearful of the spirit world because of their beliefs, because of what they might tap into, right? And then there's this fear. So we're trying to bring more of the empowered feeling, all is love feeling, versus fear. But it's a good way to like shift your perception and take a look at your beliefs from a different way. So our strongly held beliefs about the nature of reality often prevents our exploration of domains of existence beyond the realm of our body and mind. So again, it's the strongly held beliefs that we have that keep us stuck below. Betsy's like killing that squirrel right now. Okay, so what happens? Our beliefs are realized as representations of our perception of reality, right? Like I said yesterday, when you look outwardly, you're projecting what you are thinking and what you're believing, and your perception then is formed into your reality. From a metaphysical view, we have to realize that our perception is one single interpretation of how physical reality is manifested. So you're looking at it from such a higher view that you're just like looking at the game from outside of the game, and you know everything that's happening in the game. Does that make sense? Like you've played the game so much from all angles, from all different avatars. You know the game inside and out. You know the tricks of the trade. So it's all just one big game, versus when you look at the microscopicness of each atom, right? Each us. Events can occur in a multidimensional state, which then becomes one single event. Therefore, time viewed from other realms can be seen as an illusion. So think about that for a bit when you're meditating. Epiphanies, let's talk about that. The metaphysical domains follow a different channel of reality to our own. We can access these by activating a channel of communication. This channel is created when a person experiences a breakthrough or sudden realization occurring along their strongly held beliefs about the nature of reality. So how many of you have been having epiphanies about things that you thought before that, you know, you had certain beliefs, and now all of a sudden, oh, that makes sense, or oh, the realization.
They're happening all the time, especially in the QE Academy.
Every single day, every week, it's like, oh, more. Right?
Oh, yes.
And what happens when we do that? We have to then, like the Tower card, kind of demolish our beliefs, which then kind of demolishes our identity and who we thought we were because we were attached to those beliefs. And then we're like, well, who the F are we? And how do we grow now learning this new information that makes so much more sense? And it's this rebuilding of ourselves. And the epiphanies are, hey, I'm just reminding you that you are bigger than what you think. That's kind of like what it is. So these epiphanies create these channels for communication, right? They're hey, look at this. This is, remember this, that communication. So you're now opening up yourself to that spirit realm if you allow it, if you are in a space of receiving that information of communication that goes both ways. So the more we understand this, the more the realms open up to us and we become masters of our own reality, because if we're not budging, the universe isn't going to budge. It's kind of like the genie in the bottle, right? Like if we don't give the 3 wishes, they can give us any wish we want, but if we don't say this is what we want, they're not going to give it to us. So it's kind of that communication that you have to have with the universe, so that it flows, so that you become dude, I can't with this dog. The communicator with the universe. Can you please take that from her? I can't.
I'm glad I was able to mute because my dog was just making all kinds of noise.
Like it's kind of that sound that, you don't know what it is unless I tell you what it is, right? Okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. She's out. Peace be. All right. Service to others. So we went from service to self, right? All about me. What about my identity? What about my life? Look at my drama. Let me tell you what's going on with me. Oh, let me tell you what's going on with her. All about the all this, right? Whereas now it's like, okay, you become more centered. You realize you're more than what you thought you were. You have now shifted from that identity to more of a empowered, more light, right? More, you're lighter. You don't feel that density. You don't feel that yuckiness. You're like, oh, I feel better in a way. Yes, I had to go through this metamorphosis, but I'm a butterfly. I can fly now. This is amazing. So now you're like, let me help others. And let me tell these other caterpillars the way, which is to go within, to go into the cocoon so that they can then fly, right? Because you're like, we are all butterflies, just learn that there is this process to go through. So this is where we start entering into the service to others of that whole 5th dimension. So let's do a breakthrough, little overall summary. Breakthrough overall. Breakdown. Thank you. We went over how in the 3rd dimension, it is understood that we are individuals, right? Responsible for our own achievements. And it's all about service to self. And then in the 5th dimension, we believe in service to others versus self. So in this level of consciousness, information is shared freely. Lack of ego satisfaction. So it's like no more ego is involved as far as jealousy or I'm better than you, or there's like a hierarchy. It's like we're all one, we're all the same, and we can all help each other in one way or another because we're all quantumly entangled. Okay, so personal journeys are recognized and they're valued. I value you because I understand that you're going through what you're going through, and man, I went through that too, and I empathize with you. Like I can feel what you're going through. I'm so like, how can I help you? Because damn, right, that empath, the empath button is like huge. It starts to grow. You start to understand, and you start to have that unconditional love of an overflowing cup, because you've now done the work, you've poured the water in your own cup, and now it's overflowing, and you're seeing, wow, there's a lot of empty cups. Even though you can't have the mindset of I need to go around filling all those empty cups, because they need to do their own work. But there's always a chance that sometimes just a drop is all they need to basically kind of help them, push them into that direction where they can then continue to do the work, right? Like kind of what we do. We kind of just suggest stuff, you guys do the work, right? So it's understood that we're responsible for each other in a collective strive for community growth as a whole. Here we are one. So I think about like those tiny home communities, and everybody doing their thing. One person's good at this, the other person's good at that. Kind of like we have our people, right? You have RL, you're good at doing your thing with the truth and the throat thing, right? And speaking and the talking and the sharing and all that knowledge, right? Like you, that wisdom. So, you know, Michelle's all
calm down on the throat thing now.
The throat thing. The throat chakra. I am so sorry. I do the throat thing, man. All right. So look, we're going into all dimensions right here. This is why you can jump, right? Like we're jumping. So we have a certain person for every certain frequency or energy, because we're all vibing on a different frequency, on different energies, but we can all come together as light, as one. So if everybody did their part of just following their calling, doing what they love, because let's face it, there's 12 different aspects, energies of us, right? From Aries to Pisces. And if you want to break it down further, there's really 4 elements of us. And if we had the earth people doing earth stuff, the water people doing water stuff, you know, the air people thinking about how to make stuff together, and then the fire people, whatever, you've got a community of people that can pretty much like do anything because they're following their calling and they're aligned with their purpose and they're aligned with themselves. That's way away from here, because you know we're going through a whole different stage right now, but that is the view of what it can be, and especially entering into that realm of thinking, because why not? Why can't we do that, right? Why can't we just start a community and do it that way? So seeds. Ego dissolution, or death of the ego, the death of the self or personality. So think about it. The personality is that person that we show to the world, the avatar, not really the one playing the game, not really you don't go around showing everybody all the stuff on the inside. You show everybody the personality, not your individuality. That's different. That's something that is being suppressed. Everyone's individuality, trying to make everybody the same persona. But what is the self? What is the personality? What is the ego? How do we dissolve it? These are all questions that when we're going through that whole dark night of the soul, we're like, wait a minute, like, who am I really? And if I take this off, who's underneath? And then what happens after that? You know, just that digging. So not everyone's ready to let go of who they think they are, right? And that's why we have cognitive dissonance, and that's okay, because that's their life, you know, that's their game and lessons that they're learning, right? So who are we without our persona? That's the question. The amount of energy it takes to maintain our everyday person is more than what we believe. So transformations happen according to the individual's need for growth. Therefore, circumstances and experiences shape this growth. I want to give an example. So think about social media, and think about the people that, like the influencers, right? That are just thousands and thousands of followers, and they're just being their complete selves. And you're thinking, well, I want to be able to be my complete self, but you're not even there yet, because you're still not able to completely shed whatever it is that is blocking you from showing the world, you know, your identity. And so there's all these layers of, well, I'm not ready there, not ready yet, but maybe I strive or inspire to be able to be myself authentically, right? So let me remove this and and that's the whole dissolution of the ego, of the death, because you are inspired. Again, remember, from 4 to 5, you're looking for the things that inspire you. So you're now inspired to be this most authentic self where you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about you. You're just out there doing you. And that's what people gravitate towards: the confidence, the realness, the fact that, hey, I'm doing me and I don't care. And a lot of people even come to me and are like, oh, I can't believe you do that. And I'm like, oh man, you should have seen it. It took me 30 minutes to do that 13-second little reel, you know, like, but that's because we're all dealing with that dissolution, with that whole, you know, working through with it, working through our own insecurities, through our own inner judgments, through what are people going to think when I post this? What, you know, all of that kind of has to go away if you want to get to that point where you can be authentically you, right? So that's where the true growth comes. And if you think about it, like I said, in that social media sense, if you're growing on the inside, your reality is going to be that, showing you that your growth is portrayed on followers or customers or the quality of people that are following you. It doesn't have to be the numbers, right? It's all about quality, not quantity. And that's what matters. And so when you start seeing that you're peeling those layers, you'll see that in your reality. I'm just using social media as an example. Because a lot of people are fake. A lot of people, I mean, you know, you have the fakeness out there and a lot of followers. It's very hard to see the real ones that have a lot of followers. So why not strive for that, right?
Well, too, and I think like RL's a good example of this. Like I've heard him say this multiple times. He's like, you know, sometimes I get on a podcast and I don't have a plan. I just talk, man. I'm just filtering information from the
He's
ethers.
being the channel, yeah.
You know, but if you're operating in ego, that's me. Right? Like I feel like I have to have slides, I have to have everything like planned out. And I'm learning to not do that and to let go of my ego and to basically let the universe communicate to me, and so that I can speak on behalf of the truth, the knowledge. I mean, yes, you have to know what you're talking about, but it's also not letting your ego
get in the way
of sharing information, right?
Which is why for a long time I was very scared and I wasn't sharing, because I was like, no, I can't put myself out there because I know my ego's strong on this one. And it would have gotten in the way. And then it just, my true self was like, you're not ready yet. Like, you need to filter all this out before you can start putting stuff out there. You know, and it's been baby steps, and you guys have been like there throughout. It's so cool because you've seen like the whole thing. Okay, everyone's seeking for what they don't have, which leads us to an endless search taking us nowhere. I'm just going to say that right there. Everyone is seeking for what they don't have, which leads us to an endless search taking us nowhere. So whether it's intelligence or wisdom, we seek money, enlightenment, happiness. The essence of life is how we are experiencing life right now. That is, like, think about, yes, you everybody wants the macro, the end result, the life goal. But isn't that the same for the micro? Like the moments, the little moments, because isn't that what like carries on the memories of those little moments that you just never thought your child would remember, and all of a sudden they're like holding on to this thing that you're like, oh, that was just this one small moment that was insignificant, but to them it's like a forever memory that shifted their life. And I'm always conscious about that, like what we're saying or what's going on, and it's like, are they going to hold on to this one? You know what I mean? You never know. It's always the one you never know about. So
it's always the one that you don't want them to remember that they hold on.
right. Some of that too.
Like, damn.
Both ways. Okay, so it's not what we have or don't have, but how we handle the process of our life experiences. It's how do we handle it? Are we loving our lives? If I die tomorrow, am I happy with what I did today? You know, was I happy today? Did I fulfill myself? And do I have stuff that I'm resenting that I need to let go of? I don't want to bring that back if I'm going to repeat this, you know, stuff like that. So we go into this pursuit of happiness, right? Don't we? Like, oh, I want to be happy. This is all about being happy. It's all about being happy. But I personally enjoy the ups and downs. I enjoy the downs because it's an experience. It's an experience that I get to further understand. And I think that's the whole point. Like, we're just trying to learn stuff. So the pursuit of happiness is funny. We're never fully satisfied, right? We're still longing for not a desire, but a longing to go towards a destination, whether consciously or unconsciously. It's like you're always going. I'm always going. I need to do something. So life drags us towards a destination while unconsciously experiencing this, unaware of where it's taking us. Totally, right? We have a choice to be conscious of our destination, and this choice is through awareness. Where am I heading? Did I put this already in play on the blueprint of my mind before I manifested it into this reality? Or am I just letting it flow? Am I just, either way, it's fine. Awareness is not something you do. The less you do, actually, the more aware you become. This effort it takes to maintain our personas can be reduced by just being. Be aware. Life itself is awareness. And that's why I'm so excited about having this 3-day weekend and 4-day work week for the rest of my life, if it works, because I get to be, and I want to be more in that space. So it's going to be amazing. Let's jump right into bonus. You guys have anything to say about what we just talked about?
I thought that hit everything on the head, just from the whole macrocosm versus microcosm, enjoying the, I always say, like, enjoy the journey, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy the moments of the journey, and don't stay fixated on the end result. And I think that's a big reason why people get deterred on their so-called journeys, because they expect like these massive manifestations to happen immediately and don't realize like what's happening throughout the process. Because I think each one of us can all look back a couple months, and while we haven't reached our final goals per se, like we could see the progress that we made. So like enjoy those little wins, you know what I'm saying, along the way.
And that's why we love celebrating those small wins, because we know that it takes those small wins to make those big leaps and to make, those big wins. Sure. It's all there.
Yeah, I know for me, it's like the more I've learned about astrology, if you ebb and flow and sort of move and juke or whatever with astrology, it's like you're not butting your head against the wall trying to force something. You're working sort of with the universe through the process instead of just grinding. And I think too, like society has taught us that, you grind. Mm-hmm. And you do, but you got to be intelligent about it and do it the right way, not, just throw caution to the wind and think that just because I, put in a 15-hour day, suddenly success is going to follow. Right. It's like dancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Right. And that's the whole concept of the whole shifting through these timelines or through these dimensions or consciousness, right? We can be in the 3-dimension and enjoy it, right? It's okay. We're that's part of us. That is the point of being human. Why did we come to be human? To experience all this stuff that can't be experienced from a higher dimension. The light that doesn't have a body. It can't feel, it can't like touch, it can't taste, it can't do any of that stuff, right? So we go into these bodies and we have a human experience. We have to enjoy that human experience, that game. Why not, right? Like that is to have fun, like to love your life. And then if you feel like all of a sudden, right, wanting to experience more, and you can shift between all 4 and then 5 and be there. And then all of a sudden, today I'm going to do this. And today I'm going to just have a drink. And I'm going to be in this dimension. You know what I mean? Like it matters not. Like, it's just about, this is the game. These are the levels. Here it is. Have fun with it. Like, period.
And
don't take this shit so serious. Not this shit, but I'm just saying
life,
the life around us. Take this very seriously.
Right.
Yeah, too. And like for me, when I was I guess sort of beginning the wake up process, like it amazed me how you get these intuitive moments, like these whispers, you know, like grab this before you leave. And no, I don't have time for that. And then you get to work and like 4 hours later, you're like, shit, if I had grabbed that, how much easier would my life had been right now? Right. But you just, it's like learning to listen to those small voices, which I feel like is 5D, right? To some degree.
The intuition. Yeah, you're listening to your higher self.
Yeah, it's like listening to those small voices and really taking the time, even if it takes an extra minute or whatever it is, just listen, you know.
Because the more you listen, the more messages you get, and then the easier it is because you're just flowing and communicating in this whole like integrated self. Like it's just part of you. It knows exactly what to do and it tells you what to grab, and you just don't even have to think about it.
Right. And it's crazy how that works, because then it's like you start listening, you're like, oh shit, there's something to this.
And everything flows, and you're like, why does shit just flow and magic, and she finds extra fucking money and like all this stuff happens because I'm flowing, you know, like that's, you're listening to your higher self. So let's look at this self-love assessment, because we need to see where we are on like a daily. If every day is an awakening, you will never grow old. You will just keep growing. I love that. The level of self-love affects every aspect of your life. Your relationships, your career, how much money you make, how peaceful or joyful you feel, how people see you, etc. So let's just look real quick at some of these. Never, sometimes, often, and just assess for yourself where you think you are. When I look in the mirror, I love who I see. And you could put never, sometimes, or often. I feel guilty if I take care of myself or do something for myself. When I go into a social situation, I'm able to relax and just be myself. I think that has, depending on the social situation, right? Depending on who's there. When I make a mistake, I'm able to be compassionate with myself and learn from the situation rather than beat myself up.
I'm able to do that more now than I was before.
Right? Yeah, I think it's gotten easier.
Yeah.
Whereas before we would really, really beat ourselves up about stuff. And yes. I feel like that's like our conditioning of our parents, right? Like if our parents got on us, then we got on ourselves, right? Until we realize like there is no need for them to get on us. I'm clear about my unique gifts and talents.
Always. Now.
Before, like, I don't know. My self-worth is based on how people feel about me. I have confidence I can achieve my deepest dreams. And it's true confidence, not fake confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Which is basically surrendering and relying that you know what you're doing in this game. You know what you want to do. So just let it be and let the avatar go where it goes, because you know what you're doing in your higher self. I do whatever I can to avoid people getting angry and upset with me.
That's a tough one for me, being a Libra, because I'm like a people pleaser. So that's one that I'm still working on.
And I used to be that way. Probably, even I would say even up to a year ago, but now like I'm not, I never am out to hurt somebody or their feelings or anything. But I've learned too that if they're upset with me, they need to look at what they're upset about and look at themselves to see what it is. Is it truly me that they're upset about, or are they upset with something within themselves?
Yeah, and I think there's levels to it, because I mean, obviously we all don't want to go around upsetting people, right? Like we don't want people getting upset with us to some degree. But it's not like you're going to do whatever to avoid, because you can't avoid people getting mad and getting triggered.
No, I think like one thing, like whenever I do this and create content, I don't give a damn who I upset or gets angry. I just don't care at all. But like I do in like social situations and stuff, I'm big about avoiding confrontation. Like, so it's more the confrontation than it is about making people angry and upset, I guess.
I would agree with that. Like, that's one thing I'm the same.
And it's more along the lines of, I don't want to be around that energy versus kind of the result of them being angry and upset. But
I think I have a lot of that confrontational part.
Yeah.
It's part of me.
Yeah, you do.
It's the Miami in me. Okay. Let's see. I know that it is my job to define my own worth and lovability. It is no one else's job. And I hope that a lot of you have learned that by now, throughout this whole time, because we keep talking about that. I know that my worth is eternally based and not externally based on performance or looks. And then I feel unconditionally loving towards myself throughout the day. Well, that's hard, but what do I sometimes for me?
Yeah, I think it depends on the day.
Right? So true.
Some days are easier than others.
For sure.
Good stuff.
So I want to just put out there, since this is the end of the workshop, that we have this roadmap laid out basically to kind of uncover these layers we've been talking about. The Create a Life You Love program basically is now in the QE Academy as a do-it-yourself, where you go through each level, each module or key that helps you go through and unblock whatever it is, like the first one, reprogramming and overcoming your fears, answering a lot of self-awareness questions, starting to peel back the layers, starting to look at our emotions, start looking at our conditioning and break through that and all that. So it's there in the Academy if anybody wants to do a, what is it called? Schedule a tour of the Academy and to talk about it. It is amazing if anybody wants to share their progress or how it's been for them or what they feel about this program. You don't have to, but it's definitely a window of opportunity.
No, I'll share.
They don't have to, but they need to.
You're gonna share?
Yeah, so I went through it one time, and then I'm on my second go round. And one of the mistakes that I tend to make is that you feel like once you go through a module, like I'm done with that module, which is what my attitude was the first time I went through it. This time I'm only on module 2, and this is what, 5 months in, because I realized going back through it the second time is like, this isn't I do module 1 and I'm done. This is like your playbook, right? Like you're constantly going back to it going, okay, I got through module 1, but I still got some work to do in module 1. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I basically throw it to the side and never come back to it. But it's like
tools.
Right. I'm like dying. You're good. Go ahead.
They don't want you to speak about it, bro. They're coming after you.
Yeah, tools that we just watched The Matrix last night.
Tools, the new one or the old one?
No, the old one. It's just like so epic. And we were talking to Tanya about it, so we were like, we have to watch it, so we did. But basically these are tools that you can go back to, but it's like putting you through this like bubble of right now I'm working on this, so the world just kind of gives you everything for you to work on, but you still come back to it and you still come back to it. And it's one of those things that you now have all these tools that you can use forever to help you along this self-mastery.
Yeah, but like the biggest epiphany for me going through it the second time is it's like you're dealing with some deep-seated stuff. Like this isn't like a one and done thing. Like you're having to clean out the closet and you're finding new stuff in the closet as you build and as you grow. But it's amazing because each time you clean out one thing and each time you go back and you realize and have these real revelations or realizations, it's like, okay, cool. And you can see how
the progress,
things get easier, your outlook changes. I mean, that doesn't mean you still don't have problems, but the problems become easier to navigate. The relationships in your life get better, your relationship with your spouse gets better, your conflict resolution gets better, things just get easier. But you still have to go back and work on it because even though I've been through the root and the sacral and the solar, I still got root problems, right? I still got things I got to work through. And it's work, but it's necessary.
In order to basically, if you want to just tap into higher dimensions and be able to shift through and whatever, you got to let go of the baggage, right? And so this is about doing the work, getting rid of the baggage and having that support system that helps you do so, because it's difficult. You've been holding on to that energy for a long time. It's trapped, it's part of you. And it's kind of like when you have to let it go, it's kind of like a death. So it's like the whole ego death, right? And so you kind of need that support, that whole everything's going to be okay and you're going to be a better person for it. And then when you do, you're like, oh, cool, that wasn't that bad. Until you hit the next roadblock. Focus on 3 awareness exercises are still part of today. Improve your body language awareness. Slouching, right? Or taking lower power pose increases cortisol and feeds low self-esteem. So look at how you're standing or sitting. Play devil's advocate, because that's fun. Taking opposing view forces you to like question your assumptions and questions your perceptions and things like that. And then practice self-evaluation and reflection, which we all do, kind of keeping a journal, tracking your progress, etc. So basically that is the 4-day dimension workshop. Yay.
Awesome.
Larry, it's usually a reflection of themselves. Yes, sir. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining these 4 days. It's on replay. The PDF is there, so you're welcome to go through it on your own. It's one of those things that, you know, you can always go back to and see from a different perspective as you go through these shifts in your life and through these higher realms. Any questions? No?
I thought everything is so on point, and just I love doing this workshop because each time it just like yesterday with this whole image and learning, that was so eye-opening and made so much sense to me. So I'm like,
Epiphanies.
So cool. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think images, you know, words are something, but images are something else. You know, you have sound, you have light, sonoluminescence. You need both to be able to grasp the information. So thank you guys for joining, and I think that's it. Next week we have Keith doing the root chakra
We're gonna talk about something.
Yep, presentation next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, Keith, just come on here, bro. Freestyle.
Yeah, freestyle.
Let's go. Let's test it. Let's go.
I might do that.
That'd be awesome. Oh my God, we'll see how that goes. Oh, without any structure. Virgos.
That sounds terrible.
Right? To a Virgo. Oh my God. He's like, what? I need something.
Right.
Scratching.
Yeah, he's like, no way. Anyway, so we'll see you guys next Wednesday for that, whatever that is. Thank you. Peace.
Thank you.
Bye.